Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to explain why I am fading the Raiders and why you may want to fade the Raiders. This year, in the 2017 football season, they were supposed to go to the playoffs and they missed it. Now, here's what the analysts were predicting the Raiders would do. They were predicting the Raiders would go to the playoffs and do very well in the playoffs and maybe go to the Super Bowl because the team had so many talented players. So in the first 3 weeks of the preseason, the Raiders could do no wrong. They won their preseason games, and when the season started, the Raiders won their first 2 games. By the time the first game rolled around and they won that game, the analysts were all on board that the Raiders were definitely going to the playoffs. They turned around a sinking battleship, and a whole decade of futility in their NFL in the previous years in the NFL. Well, I highly doubted that, and I knew the Raiders were somehow going to miss the playoffs, and I always knew that the Raiders, they were just going to lose their games. They were going to find a way to lose their games, and that's exactly what they did this season. In the first 2 games, the analysts were all on board. They were going crazy on ESPN, CNN, any sports network that was out there, Fox Sports, any of them, that the Raiders were going to do absolutely fantastic. It was crazy how they were predicting this team. And they're even predicting, like a futures bet on these guys to go to the playoffs or win the Super Bowl. I don't know how many people fell for this trap, but it's really sad that if they did fall for this trap. The Raiders fell far short of what their expectations were, and it's another year of futility for them. And they've done this for a whole decade. Now, granted, they have talented players like Derek Carr, Khalil Mack, Mario Edwards, and a whole laundry list of other players, Amir Cooper, and Crabtree. They have a lot of talented players, I'll admit that, but I don't think the coaching staff is too talented. After all, the coach came from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they had when he coached the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had the biggest losing record of any NFL team. So he comes to the Raiders, and it's another futile operation. His time with the Raiders is another futile operation. I predict next year, 2018, that the Raiders fall far short of the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs, and it'll be another year of futility for them. I don't think anything's changed. They have talented players, but they've had this before, but they find ways to lose their games. So the 2017 is probably they probably will go down as the biggest bust team not to make the playoffs, and not to make the playoffs and to miss the playoffs. If you looked at now, they're complaining about the officiating of the Dallas game last week. If they'd went in and played that game and played it to win, they probably would have won. They would have won the game, but that's not what they did. They found a way to lose the game, make stupid mistakes, and that's why the officiating went against them. So for 2018, my advice to you and anybody else who's looking at the Oakland Raiders, fade the Raiders. That's what I say. I will be fading the Raiders, and hopefully you will be fading the Raiders as well. Peace, everyone. That's all I have to say in this video.